Boy, Melissa is looking disheveled tonight, but that is all going to change this weekend. We could be looking at a Cat 4, potentially stronger by the end of the weekend. What's going on, guys? Certified meteorologist Jonathan Caicos back with you. I'm most concerned for Jamaica, eastern Cuba, and the western side of Hispaniola. We're going to have the latest track and the latest potential impacts through the course of this video. Also, big atmospheric river coming to the Pacific Northwest. We'll break that down later on in the video. Post in the comments what you think will happen with Melissa. There's still a little bit of uncertainty, but things are tightening up as we've been talking about over the past couple of days. Melissa, as of the 8 o'clock video here, is a 45 mile per hour tropical storm, so weaker than last night. And again, we talked about this, that shear would beat this storm up in the early goings of its life going forward. Here is the latest track from the Hurricane Center. Still a wide cone, but notice if it takes anything close to that center line or north of it, significant impacts coming to Jamaica and eastern Cuba. You see it right there from late Sunday night. And I know the numbers are all over the place here because it's such a weird and odd shaped cone because of the slow moving nature of this thing. You see it jump from a Cat 1 up to a major hurricane, and then we're talking about potential Category 4 or higher. Notice by Monday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Hurricane Center forecasting a 145 mile per hour Category 4 storm. If it goes further to the west on the southwest side of this cone, that's where it has the better potential to explode even further. The environment is even better than what it's going to be getting itself into over the next couple of days. And I wanted to overlay kind of that forecast from the Hurricane Center over the tropical cyclone heat potential, the tropical fuel here. And anywhere there's red to that rust color, this is where the water is not only warm on the surface, but deeply warm. So these slow moving storms that we oftentimes hope kind of choke themselves out by upwelling that cooler water, it's not going to happen in this case because even with the rough surf out there, the rough waters, the upwelling, we're not really upwelling that cool water. It's just still warm water that it is going to continue to feed off of. And that is why we're talking about things strengthening. So I wanted to show you this. This is going to be the European model. It's been one of the better performing models, at least with this storm right now. I think the GFS is still too a little bit far, too far to the northeast. There's Sunday, October 26th. We'll get to the rainfall in a second. Right now, the strongest of the winds as we get towards Sunday are off the coast of. I don't know why it's pegging 0 there, where you see that should be 50 miles an hour gust and then 75 mile per hour gusts as it goes forward out there. So again, we're talking the potential for hurricane force winds by Sunday. And then this is where it gets real rough. The European wants to then strengthen this thing rapidly further. This is now Tuesday, the 28th. And then we're talking about right along that eye wall here. So we're going to zoom into the southwest side of Jamaica. The scale on there, anywhere you see that deep purple is 100 mile per hour winds. And then this side on the back side of the eye wall, that's going off the collar table. So we're talking winds right now of well over 100 miles an hour. And again, that would coincide with that Category 4 forecast by the National Hurricane Center. We'll take this out further and zoom out so you can see now on approach by Wednesday. We're talking about a major hurricane potential heading into eastern Cuba. And then as we get into Thursday, back up into the eastern side of the Bahamas, western Turks and Caicos. So really terrible track for a lot of the Caribbean. And we'll continue to fine tune those impacts for the islands, for the Caribbean over the next couple of days. And as we get closer to the event, when we kind of still are dealing with a little bit of nuances that a wobble here, a wobble there are going to change impacts big time. What I think is basically locked in is a potential catastrophic rainfall event. We've been showing you this. We've been talking about this since last week. These are the European numbers from the European model. And south side of Haiti, potential for 2 feet plus. And again, the center is going to be nowhere near us. It's that persistent onshore flow riding up the mountains that get to wring out all of that moisture. You see nearly 3 feet of rain across parts of the island of Jamaica. So not only do we have the potential for major hurricane force winds on Jamaica, we have the likelihood of 2+ feet of rain, the terrain there, mudslides, all of the above. Same deal on the eastern side of Cuba. That is where we have the terrain in Cuba. And you're talking about 2+ feet of rain, especially in the southeast corner of the country. So Not what you want to see, certainly, but it's becoming more and more likely that that is going to be the reality. Really, again, starting now with some of those heavier rain bands into Haiti and the Dominican Republic. But then the wind part of the equation ramps up for the second half of the weekend. Want to show you some of the models again. I can't believe it, but I'm still seeing it out there. Uh, just people wanting to keep the southeast corner of the United States. Now, you'll see in the ensembles that I don't know that we don't get any impacts to the United States or the Canadian Maritimes. That's way up there. But in terms of Florida, the biggest weather YouTuber, you know who I'm talking about. He put Florida on alert. It's just not gonna happen. Okay. Tropical storm right there as of again 8 o'clock. The official forecast is in white there over the next 5 days. The models go out further, and then you see that hook back to the north and east. There is a strong, strong, strong cold front coming through, and that's going to push it away. European ensembles always like to be transparent and kind of share with you what we are looking at meteorologically, scientifically. And I know there are a lot of lines on here, but for Florida, not even the outlier ensembles go to Florida. Some could get close to the Bahamas and we could have some outer bands, but the core should get nowhere near Florida, okay? Again, the mean of all of this, kind of the average is to kind of there is a storm now going up, going around, and then doing something like that. Okay, that's what the European ensemble mean would suggest. I want to show you now the best performing one of the 2025 hurricane season, and it's the Google DeepMind AI model. And it has a very similar scenario where it really ramps things up south of Jamaica, and then we get that nudge back off toward the northeast through parts of southeastern Cuba. One of the reasons that we are looking at that, we've highlighted the dip in the jet stream that is coming with us, that is going to kind of lift Melissa out of the Caribbean. Big cold front is coming through. A hurricane is never going to beat a synoptic scale or large scale weather pattern. It never will. It always gets bullied. For as ferocious and violent as these things are, it will lose every single time. It's not going to go through that. So this is Tuesday, October 28th. Again, the hurricane's somewhere in the vicinity of Jamaica, southeast Cuba at this time. And let me put this into motion. This, by the way, is going to bring a very festive Halloween to the southeast corner of the United States. There's Wednesday, October 29th. You see that front pushing through. And then going forward, that front will continue to kind of slam the door. And that's why we do get that abrupt northeast turn. If you're still with me, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from if you're finding us for the first time and hate the garbage that's out there on social media when it comes to the weather. You've come to the right place. We call ourselves the Garbage Crew, the entire 100,000 plus subscriber community strong here on our channel, because a lot of times you guys are bringing that trash to me, and then the video comes out of, is this truth or is it trash? And I am so ready for my mini rant here for hurricane season to be over, because I've just seen so many places along the Gulf Coast that have been put on alert by YouTubers for no reason. We all know how the season has gone. Um, and I guess they got to get their clicks somehow. And it's just really, really unfortunate. It's disheartening as a meteorologist to see that for sure, because the number one question, I'm in Florida, by the way, number one question I've received is, hey, I saw this on YouTube. I saw this on Facebook. It's coming to Florida. Cold front says no. Okay, thanks for letting me rant. All right, on to the Pacific Northwest now. Big atmospheric river event. You see the S word there. Some snow coming to the highest elevations into parts of British Columbia and Seattle. This dip in the jet stream, again, just coming right out of the Pacific, so it's moisture loaded here. It runs into the Cascades, so that moisture gets lifted up, and we cool it, we condense it, and it rains or snows heavier depending upon the temperature. So then watching for that potential flood threat going forward in the lower elevations and potentially some mudslides there. And we're going to be watching that for sure. But nonetheless, high rainfall rates because that's what we typically get when we have these very non-moisture starved atmospheric river events as they plow in from the Pacific Ocean. So watching that for you, really the first big one of the season in the Pacific Northwest. Closer to the Great Lakes, we do have this dip in the jet stream, and if this was cold enough, we'd have some lake effect rain. We do have some lake effect snow, I should say, lake effect rain showers going on. So that moisture continuing to come through the Great Lakes, that dip in the jet stream, keeping the wind perpendicular to the shoreline there of Lake Michigan, across Lake Huron, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario. Um, and we will continue to watch that. Lake Superior. Did I forget any of the lakes? Five of them. Think I called them all out there. But nonetheless, that's why it's on the cooler side. It's on the cloudy side, and we've been dodging those kind of quick hitting showers over the past couple of days. Forecast across the country, you can clearly see the dip in the jet stream over the Great Lakes, that little blue shaded color where the cooler air is. Where International Falls, it's in the upper 40s. Detroit, we're at 53. Pittsburgh, we're at 53. Roanoke, we're at 62. Still nice and comfy in Jacksonville. Some of the best weather in the country. If you like it on the warmer side, but not too humid, is going to be in Florida because the humidity is gone, but it's still warm. If you like the crisp stuff, man, I mean, Southwest Virginia, can't beat that. 79 in Jacksonville again, 83 in Orlando. San Antonio, still a toasty near 90 degrees. Houston, we are back to 84. Denver, we are in the low to mid 60s. Alrighty, guys. We are watching closely all the developments with Melissa. This is going to be the most impactful storm of the 2025 hurricane season. There's no doubt. It's not even close. It has to make landfall somewhere. Unfortunately, we're still trying to pin down where exactly that is. But I do think, again, this general track is pretty good. And the official forecast is in line with this, where we're going to see something really explode southeast of Jamaica. It's going to ride kind of on the southern end of Jamaica and then potentially making a landfall on the central and western side of Jamaica. I think the Cayman Islands were still in play. I think that's a little less likely, though. And then central and eastern Cuba would be up next for the biggest wind impact. And then to the eastern Bahamas, western Turks and Caicos until it goes to the towards Bermuda. Again, I'll end with this. I think I forgot to point it out before, but I mentioned it, that there are some ensembles here, and there's a decent amount of them that start pulling it back a little bit, kind of Sandy-esque toward the Canadian Maritimes and into New England. So that is going to be something that we watch way down the road. Way down the road. And if there's nuances early on, again, that's going to change any kind of long-term outlook with Melissa as it kind of drifts through the North Atlantic. Here, by the way, is Bermuda. Right there. Let's keep it to the west of the island as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening to my rant. I appreciate you guys bringing everything to my attention. I appreciate the weather conversation that we have on this channel. You guys make this channel what it is for sure. Thank you for being a part of it. I really appreciate it. If you're new here and you found this content helpful, hit that subscribe button for me. Join our community. Would love to have you on board. Join the team. We'll catch you soon. Be safe.